Syracuse basketball came into this game as 21.5-point favorites. They were expected to not only beat Binghamton, but destroy Binghamton. And as I've said a number of times on this podcast, how you win in this day and age matters. It matters. And what we saw from Syracuse basketball was unlike anything we saw in the exhibition against Buffalo, certainly not like anything we saw in the exhibition against Pace, where they did not display full effort. We saw 40 minutes of maximum effort, defense, and intensity right from tip-off. Syracuse basketball in the first half had about a 6-minute stretch where they did not record a field goal, and yet they maintained a double-digit lead because of defense and effort. I can live with missed shots. I can live with the team being rusty. And after all, they still need to develop chemistry. JJ Starling had gone down. I understand everything. But that is not an excuse for a lack of effort or lack of defense. Syracuse basketball did exactly what they needed to do. So much so that I'm in a group chat over on X with a number of people, a number of Syracuse fans. And we comment during every game. And there was very little complaining. And we're hard on the team in that chat. We are very hard on the team. And I showcased that to you all. Obviously, I'm not running from what I was saying after the exhibition against Pace. The head coach was even calling out the team effort. But in that group chat tonight, there was maybe a comment here, a comment there, but for the most part, it was all positive. Now, later on, I'm not going to sit here and crown Syracuse basketball just yet, but that was very refreshing and encouraging to see from Syracuse. First half numbers in this game. Syracuse basketball led 32. That's not a lot of points. 14. It was the fewest amount of points they allowed in a first half since 2020. It was a game against Boston College. Doesn't matter the opponent. You held a team down to 14 points in one half. It makes it seem like Syracuse played no defense in the second half because they allowed 33. But I can assure you, they were giving maximum effort, defense, and intensity. It wasn't that bad in the second half at all. But the first half was just monstrous. Syracuse forced 15 turnovers in the first half. 15. And they only turned it over themselves 3 times. So they took care of the basketball. They were creating turnovers. They were getting out in transition. How many lobs did William Kyle have tonight? How many dunks did he have? I think it was every single field goal that he recorded. So William Kyle scored 16 points, was 8 of 9 from the field. So let's say that he had at least 8 dunks, because I think all of his points came courtesy of a dunk. Whether it was pick and roll, out in transition. Awesome. And in the second half, this was the big key. Okay, Syracuse. You had a good first half. Offense was a little shaky. Obviously, the shooting, we'll talk about that later, wasn't very good. Defense was great. Can you keep up the intensity for 40 minutes? Not for 20 minutes, for 40 minutes, because again, how you win matters in this day and age. And Syracuse, in the second half, continued to crush Binghamton. It was a masterclass out there. Some examples of full effort that were on display that I charted down in situations where Syracuse could have easily taken their foot off the gas and said it doesn't matter, even though it does matter, but they could have said it doesn't matter. William Kyle, elite defense. He blocks a shot with Syracuse up 30. with less than 4 minutes to go in the game. Nate Kings with a steal runs up the court, lobs one, I believe, to William Kyle for a dunk. That puts Syracuse up 24 with 12 minutes to go. Bryce Zephyr, he played a little bit in this game. He gets out in space, lobs one to Sadiq White, puts Syracuse up 31 with less than 6 minutes left. Adrian Autry, putting out the starters. All of them, minus JJ, insert for Kiyan, with less than 3 minutes to go in the game, with Syracuse up 30. And you could sit here and say to me, that's insane that he had the starters out there. How could you have the starters up 30 with less than 3 minutes to go? But this is not the NBA. In the NBA, you would never do that. You would take your starters out. It doesn't matter. You'll just take the win, move on. But in this day and age in college basketball, it matters whether you win by 20, whether you win by 30, whether you win by 15, whether you win by 7. And Autry understands that. And he made sure that his players understood that too. And so his starters were in the game with 3 minutes left, up 30, giving maximum effort. So instead of winning by 30, now you win by 38. That's a difference. I made this comment actually in that Syracuse group chat. I probably should have put it up regular. But it's so funny how the difference between making and missing the tournament for a team could simply come down to, did you beat a team by 20 or did you beat a team by 30? That's literally all it can come down to sometimes with the way these advanced metrics work. I understand it's not a perfect system. They definitely need to account for garbage time. But that's the system that we have right now. That's the systems that people use to make these selections on Selection Sunday. And so the bottom line is that Syracuse, for 40 minutes, displayed maximum effort and maximum defensive intensity. And eventually, the offense woke up in the second half. And I can accept being rusty. I understand that. They were not perfect on offense, which we'll get to later on. Defense and effort. Fantastic. Don't really have anything negative to say on this podcast. Can you believe it? Me neither. It's nice, though, because I really did not want to come on here and rant. I really didn't. So we'll take it.